how the world works. I feel bad that we don't have, standard financial literacy taught at a very high level on a very large scale. I think that that's what our country needs. That's not what our country has given its people, and I think that we're going to regret that. But anyway, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is this article that I was reading about millennials and purchasing homes. Now, here's one thing that the article says that really jumped out at me. It says that 63% of millennials who bought homes have regrets, usually because they missed this one crucial step. So let me explain what they say the crucial step is. This is from CNBC, and it says that millennial home ownership has been off to a slow start. Roughly 1 in 3 millennials under the age of 35 own a home as of the end of 2018, according to the Census Bureau. That's 8 to 9 percentage points lower than the previous generation's home ownership rates at 25 to 34. And that's according to the research from the Urban Institute's Housing and Finance Policy Center. Now, is that a problem? It could be defined as a problem, but the thing about it is that I think young people also today have different lives than what young people had, back, 40 years ago, right? 40 years ago, it wasn't uncommon to be 24 years old, with a spouse and children. Now that's not quite common. I literally remember being in the house and my parents being like 23 years old, and I remember thinking that they were old people, because they were older than me. But now I look back and I say, wow, that's really young. So anyway, they say, yet many of the younger people lucky enough to own a place still suffer from buyer's remorse. So out of the 1/3 of millennials who do buy homes, 2/3 of those millennials are not completely happy about the purchase. They said nearly 2/3, 63% of millennials aged 23 to 38 say that they have regrets about purchasing their current home, according to a new poll of about 1,500 homeowners at Bankrate. 35% of baby boomers, 53 to 75, say the same. So the older you get, the less regret that there is, while 50% of Gen Xers, 39 to 54, cope to some remorse, right? Or cop to some remorse. So half of all the Generation Xers, so if you're 39 to 54, half of you regret buying a house, half of you don't. If you're older, you're glad to own a house. So it almost seems like they're leaning in the direction of saying that home ownership is more comfortable for people who are a little bit older. Let's keep going here. It says, so here's what they say is the top reason millennials have regrets. Underestimating the hidden costs associated with buying and owning a home, including the ongoing responsibilities of maintaining it, is the number one millennial homeowner frustration. Yeah, a lot of people buy a home and don't realize that owning a home comes with a lot of other expenses. It comes with the taxes. When you're a homeowner, they tax you more. Also, maintenance. Maintenance is something big. I know that in our house, when we went ahead and made an investment to finish the basement, and it cost a lot of money, but I didn't mind spending the money because I knew it was good. We were going to get that money back. That money's our money. It's not like we even gave it away. We just put it into the house. So the basement, is nice and finished. But also at the same time, especially once we finished the basement, we started having all these plumbing issues and electrical issues and everything else. And these things weren't cheap. You're talking about, $200, $300, $400 a pop. And I remember thinking that, that having put aside excess cash is one of the things that saved us from this home ownership situation kind of kicking us in the butt. So I encourage anybody who gets a home to understand that there's two costs to a house. There's the cost of getting the house and the mortgage and all that, and then there's the cost of maintaining the house. So by the way, everybody, I want to say welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Also, I want to remind you guys we have blackenough.com. This is where we have this is our basically Facebook for Black people. This is where the runaway slaves get off the digital plantation and are running away from Facebook. Not completely. You don't have to leave Facebook, but you can keep your Facebook account. But Black Enough is kind of the gathering spot where it's all Black, it's all real, all honest, and it's all free and authentic. You can do whatever you want. Doesn't cost you a thing to join. So feel free to join us at Black Enough. Hit the thumbs up button real quick. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. I'm going to say goodbye to my friends at Financial Juneteenth TV. My phone's about to die, so I'm about to cut you guys down. So if you want to finish up, you can go to drboycetv.com. So feel free to go there. All right. So basically, we're reading this article about home ownership for millennials. And I thought the article was important because I think a lot of millennials don't know that home ownership does come with these extra costs. I felt responsible for making sure that that this conversation was had, mainly because I don't want you guys to walk away with the interpretation that I'm saying that everyone should always own a home no matter what. I personally think that home ownership, though, is better than just giving your money away. I think that paying rent, if you do pay rent, I suggest that you find other ways to get tax write-offs. One of the benefits of home ownership is that you do get the tax write-offs, but then really the biggest write-offs actually come from owning a business. That's why I say that every Black family should have a family business. Every Black person should be an investor. And I stick by that, to the day I die. So that's my 2 cents on that. So what else do they say? They say that it's a common mistake that young people don't know about the cost of owning a home. They don't think about that. It says you need to know that you can truly afford to buy both, to both buy and own a home. And to get the full picture, you need to do more than simply compare your current rent payment with the potential mortgage payment, says Daryl Fairweather, chief economist at real estate site Redfin. He says, do a full check of all finances. A lot of hidden fees come with owning a home that you might not consider monthly, consider immediately. And that includes insurance, property taxes, and closing costs, which can be 2 to 5% of the home price. These kinds of hidden costs have even tripped up real estate mogul Barbara Corcoran early on. Quote, when I bought my first home, I showed up at the table to close without the closing costs. She told CBS Make It. CNBC Make It. Thank God I was able to borrow it from a very nice seller, or I couldn't have closed on the place. So what I suggest you may want to do this summer, or whenever you get the time, is consider taking a short, class or reading a book on buying a home. Just, what that means, what the process looks like. It's worth it. It's worth taking the time to learn how to buy real estate, because real estate is extremely important. I also think that it's very difficult to spend too much on real estate. Not that it's not possible. It's definitely possible. But, it depends on how you look at it, too. Right. So somebody said to me, well, I don't want to buy in this market now because the prices are too high. The costs are too high. And I said, yeah, OK, I understand that. I said, but can you tell me about any property you thought about that you would have thought about buying 30 years ago, where the value of the property now is lower than the value was 30 years ago? Can you think of anything that you would have bought, any house in most neighborhoods that you would have bought 30 years ago, where the value today is less than the value of what you would have paid for back then? So, and he said, no. I said, exactly. I said, when you buy the real estate, I mean, a lot of times it's a matter of just how long you want to wait. Like I don't really care if the value of my house goes up or down. All I care about is that we like it and we're comfortable and we're going to be there for 20, 30 years. And by then, I'm sure the value will have gone up and it's better than renting an apartment, right? The other thing, too, is I think the tax write-offs, I found that the tax write-offs are much, much better for owning a business than actually than just real estate. The tax write-offs in real estate are not as great as people make them out to be. And also, if you want to know why rich people get ahead, one reason rich people in America get ahead is because America is rigged. America is a rigged country where rich people those who become investors pay lower taxes than people who do labor. So, for example, if you go to work for 40 hours and you bring home $1,000 and an investor makes $1,000 from selling a house or selling shares of stock, and they've held the investment long enough for more than a year, long-term capital gains, you're going to pay this much in taxes. They're going to pay that much in taxes. And it's crazy because you worked for your money. They may not have worked for theirs. So I think that the goal for this generation, for Black people, should be to make sure that our children get to a point where they don't have to do labor to get their money. The only labor they should do is learning systems or learning skill sets that will allow them to put systems in place or to build a better system or to, build a stronger business so that the business itself will be doing the labor and not themselves. OK, so let me keep going. I'm going to finish up this real quick. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And also, please make sure you join Black Enough. We're really letting everybody know about it, especially since everyone's afraid of Facebook's tyranny. And if you want to come see us in Philadelphia tomorrow, we're doing our financial Juneteenth investing seminar. You can go to drboycephiladelphia.com. That's drboycephiladelphia.com. I think we have a few more seats. And also, we're doing the digital version of that seminar where you can see it worldwide. You can still join and watch the recording from last week. It's very, very good. Just go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. Let's see here. Let me keep reading. First-time home buyers often overlook the cost of upkeep and repairs. HGTV recommends buyers plan 1 to 3% of the home's purchase price on annual maintenance. So if the home is priced at $300,000, you should plan to spend $3,000 a year on maintenance. It doesn't help the cash-strapped millennials often struggle to afford just the down payment. Roughly 1 in 3 millennial home buyers took a second job to save up for the down payment. Quote, when paying for things like mortgages and student loans, millennials don't have much money to save for the hidden costs of owning a home. And so that's what happens with student loans. Student loans are like financial fibroids. And why do I say that? Because I was thinking about, the sad fact that so many of our sisters get fibroids in their 40s and 50s. Well, one of the things I remember hearing that fibroids do, I'm not a doctor, and I hope this analogy isn't weird or gross you out, but it's something I think about. One of the things fibroids do, I think, is they either suck nutrients or blood like out of your system. Is that true? I mean, tell me if I sound totally crazy when I say this, but that's one, like, they're not healthy, right? They actually suck something out of your system, and it drains you, right? And so I think, student loans are compared that with. The reason I would say financial fibroids is because they suck the life out of your fucking bank account. Excuse my French. Like, they just suck away so much of your resources that it's hard for you to move forward and do anything. It's like our federal government. Our federal government can't afford to redo its infrastructure in the United States because our debt is so high. The interest payments are so high that they just suck resources away from all the other things that we want to do. That's why when I go to China and Japan, you're seeing bullet trains built and all of this technology and everything else. They're passing us up because the United States can't afford to do all the things that we want to do. We can't afford to upgrade our infrastructure. That's why a lot of our bridges are falling. There's a bridge a few miles from my house where there's a sign on this freaking bridge. I'm telling you guys, I'm putting socks on while I tell you this. My feet are cold. There's a sign on this bridge. I kid you not. And the sign says, this bridge could collapse at any minute or something. Cross it at your own risk. I kid you not. And every day, about probably 50, 60, 80,000 people cross this bridge. It's a very highly populated bridge. It's insane. So anyway, who do we owe the debt to? Anybody who buys the debt. Like, any of you could be debt holders, with the federal government. If you go buy treasury bonds and things like that, anybody can buy those. So Americans own the debt, corporations own the debt. Investment companies own the debt. The Chinese own some of the debt. A lot of people own that debt. So it's kind of owned by a lot of people. So what I would say is that I think that what is really true in this economy is that you have to, this is why I really encourage you guys to give the Black Business School a try, because all of our models are specifically designed for Black people, but also to solve new millennial problems. A lot of universities, not only do they put you deep in debt, which is a problem, but they also give you, these methods for obtaining income, not even wealth. They don't really teach wealth. They teach income, that are really antiquated. They really, push people several steps back. And I think that they're confused. They don't understand, like, why did I go to school and get this degree and I've got all this debt and I can't make the money that I deserve to make and I don't own anything. Well, if you don't own anything, then you haven't won, right? So if you want to measure how you're doing financially, don't look at what kind of job you have or how much money you're making or what kind of car you drive. Look at how much you own. Like, what do you actually own? What is actually yours? And so the Black Business School, I'm really proud of our creation because, we really twist the models and make them flexible enough. That's what my PhD allows me to do. When you have a PhD, you don't read textbooks, you write textbooks. You don't just understand theories, you create theories, right? So I've just decided I'm gonna dedicate my whole doctorate to the Black community by creating theories of wealth that relate specifically to us, so we can compete in this wealth game. You guys have seen me. You guys know how I am. I'm passionate. I'm crazy. I'm just a crazy ass Black man. That's all I am. I'm just a brother who just knows a whole lot of stuff in that particular area. And I know a few other things too, because analytical ability doesn't turn off just because I'm not talking about money. But what I really believe is that you have to figure out how to do things in a way that just works. Like, so for example, retirement. retirement, sure, you can look at the standard model, the three legs of retirement, your pension plan, your social security, and your savings and all that. Or you could actually consider the fact that, we have a culture now. Remember, wealth is cultural. We have a culture where families feel like they all have to live alone. Like, I get a wife and a child and children, and we have our house. You have a wife and kids. You have your house. So and so has a wife and kids. They have their house. Grandma has her house. Well, in a lot of cultures, everybody lives under the same roof so that they can have excess cash. So they get a giant house. They have 8 people living in the same house. And then they have a surplus of several $1,000s a month that can be put into a family investment fund. That's done by a lot of cultures. It's done in Asian culture. Mexican people do it when they come to this country. And the thing is, working together can allow you literally to go from poverty to prosperity. Like, if you're separated, then you can all be poor individually. But if you're all sort of working together, you take people. Let's say you have 8 people that make an average of $1,000 a month, right? 8 people that make $1,000 a month, or $1,000 a week. Sorry, $1,000 a week, 8 people. That's an average income. It's not too high, not too low. It's still going to be a struggle, right, for each of those individual people to survive. It's not a complete struggle, but it's not easy. But if you pulled everything together and they had $8,000 a week to get by, $32,000 a month, and then you had some basic financial planning, and let's say they're all related, you're all cousins or siblings or 3 generations of the same family, whatever it is, then you would actually find that you can get those basic expenses out of the way, like the house and the car and all that. And because you're getting economies of scale. That's what they call it in economics, economies of scale, where when we come together, the costs go down and the opportunities and the revenues go up. Also, people can specialize. So somebody could say, well, I'll take care of the children. Grandma, you've probably seen this, where grandma says, I'll take care of all you guys' kids. So it's 3 siblings under the same roof with their spouses. They all have children. Grandma watches all the kids. What does that do? Well, that eliminates the daycare costs because grandma got that, right? And then everybody can go to work, hustle up as much money as possible, and bring home the bacon. And then you have 1 or 2 people that are managing the family finances, where you get all the bills out of the way, and then you have the rest of the money invested, and then you start buying property and you start buying stock and things like that. And so I'm not telling you how to do your situation. Your situation will differ, but I'm just telling you that people that will survive in the future and prosper are going to be people that shift away from old models of survival. The old models won't work in the new generation. The reason they won't work is because nobody's ready for retirement. Nobody is prepared. A very small percentage of Americans have enough money available to retire, and that's just a fact. So anyway, that was it. I just want to share this with you. As far as millennials go, if you haven't started on your wealth building journey, we have a basic program in the Black Business School at blackmoney101.com. That's blackmoney101.com. So feel free to go take Black Money 101, and then later on, when you want to, you can work up to 102, 103, 104, etc. And also, if you want to check out our financial workbooks for children, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. So hit the thumbs up button before you go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.